my best advice for if you want to sell products is if you can connect and relate a story to it and a feeling to it, you're good. Like that's the biggest thing is if you getting that, a story behind it. If you can talk about what it is as opposed to like, oh, this is a print. I don't know. I thought it was cool. I made it. I like it.
What's going on? You're listening to episode 88 of the Perspective Podcast, and I'm your host, Scotty.D.Russell of Perspective Collective. This show is about carving out time to build something for yourself. I want to share what is and isn't working for me, along with sharing my guest point of view. This platform also allows me to cast the spotlight and celebrate those creating big waves in the community through interviews and a weekly dose of inspiration in the outro, so stick to the end because it could be you. Some days, it feels like you just can't catch a break. Hell, days become weeks, months, and years. Believe me, I know what that feels like. Playing the victim, feeling like the universe is conspiring against you. Trust me, I know. However, something I continue to preach on this show is everything boils down to mindset and making a choice. You can't control everything in life, but you can control these two facets. I personally believe when you choose to approach things with a positive outlook, it's easier to attract more opportunities and the right people in your life. Cue today's guest. Freaking Kenny Vidinich, aka Kung Fu Kenny, aka of One Vibe of Honolulu. Kenny and I go back a few years on Instagram, and we finally got a chance to meet today after multiple conversations through DMs. I've watched him curate a unique style, find his voice, and grow a loyal fan base and customer base with his work and his successful product launches. So grab your snorkeling gear as we take a deep dive into topics such as the power of positive thinking and law of attraction, developing your style by putting yourself in your work, connecting and growing an audience, product launches, building an email list, and a ton of other rad shit. You can find the show notes of this episode jam-packed with Kenny's stellar work and everything we reference at perspective-collective.com/88. If you found value in this episode, please consider supporting the show by becoming a pledger at patreon.com/perspectivepodcast. Shout out to all the new pledgers over this last month. There's been quite a few of you lately, and you have no idea how much that means to me. And with as little as your weekly cup of coffee, you can help the show reach more people who need it while helping me continue to improve the quality and bring on more help. What also helps the show grow is by sharing it on social media, subscribing, and leaving a rating review on Apple Podcasts. In the outro of each episode, I share a review from someone like you to publicly return the love. And finally, if you catch some inspiration from the show, create some work and tag me at Perspective Podcast on Instagram. I'll give it a share where I post each week's episode artwork and make sure you get some credit. Let's get into the show. Of course, man. You got a crazy following, so I know people would die to learn how you did it. So plus you got rad work too, so.
Well, yeah, I'll try and put as much light on the situation as I can, but honestly, most of it comes down to just, for lack of a better terminology, it's just the power of positivity, honestly. It's just, just putting yourself out there in a positive way and always thinking the best and always knowing that the best is going to happen and doing that sort of stuff as opposed to dredging and this. And it's like, oh my God, is this going to work? Is this going to work? And you're like, no, whatever. Fuck it. It is going to work. It will work.
Yeah. See, I spent a lot of my life kind of going the whole feeling sorry for myself, feeling like a victim. And literally when you flip that switch and you change your mindset, it's amazing. Just how, things can snowball in a positive direction instead of,
Oh, it is unbelievable. Unbelievable. And that's honestly for anything in life and design and everything. It's just if you always think about the worst that's going to happen, bad shit's going to happen. It's how it works. If you think about the best that's going to happen,
law of attraction. I'm big into that, man. I kind of like how this has already started. We're going to use this. We're going to use this already in the intro. I like it already. So do you do your thing full-time freelance then?
So it's kind of ish. Yeah. So, I've been doing the freelance thing. I started One Vibe 8 years ago. I've been doing the freelance thing up until about 2 years ago. And then I got presented by a company that's out here in Hawaii to be the lead designer for them. And so I'm pretty much 2 days a week for them. And then right after that, another company presented essentially the same sort of thing. So it's technically in-house lead designer for them, but the way that it operates is I'm at home working from my office, and it's essentially freelance schedule. Like, it's not like 9 to 5. It's like, if you're working today, we expect this from you and that sort of stuff. It's not, you need to be sitting in front of your chair. We need to do a Skype session in the morning. It's real easy going. It's kind of like a nice happy medium of freelance and contract work at the same time.
Are they hiring you for your style of illustration as well? Or is it other kind of design work as well too?
Well, the local company is very, very plays it very close to the chest, where they don't release anything. I don't even share any of their work.
Okay. Do you have like an NDA?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So I can't share anything with them. So if you look at my work, you actually won't see anything for them.
Once in a while, I'll see some kind of ad pop up, and I'm like, I know whose art that is. You know what I'm talking about? Some of those sponsored posts, I'm like, that's got your style written all over it.
Yeah. Yeah. So there is that, which helps me too. I'm able to develop a style and a look that people are able to catch and grab right away, which I don't know exactly what it is that I've done, but there is something to it that, I get tagged all the time, be like, oh, One Vibe, did you do this? Or One Vibe, they're stealing your work. Be like, no, they paid me for it. It's all good.
Yeah. But that's when you have a community if people are reaching out, because like I've dealt with plenty of that stuff, people ripping your stuff off, trying to profit off it. So, but at least you got a hardcore community. And I want to get into that too, but I guess for those who don't know, and I'm getting to know you more too, give us a brief Wikipedia page summary about yourself and how you even started One Vibe. We know that now you've been doing it for 8 years now, but what's kind of the backstory? And have you always been in Hawaii?
I have not. So I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago.
So you were my neighbor.
Yeah, we're Midwest kids, fellow Midwest kids. So yeah, and then when I was 18 years old, I got a full ride scholarship out here to Hawaii Pacific University. Actually, as weird as it is, for cheerleading. That was kind of like going along the power of positivity and law of attraction, that sort of thing. I saw this. I went to a college fair my sophomore year, and there was this school, Hawaii Pacific University, in the suburbs of Illinois and stuff. And they had this packet, and I saw this campus that was in the mountains and on the beach, and I was like, oh, that is where I want to be. That's where I want to go to school. No idea how it was going to happen, what was going to play out to get it to go. But then my senior year, or the summer before my senior year, I happened to, I was a gymnast my whole life, and then I happened to go into this thing where it was a cheerleading gym, and ended up getting a full ride scholarship to Hawaii Pacific University, the very school that I was like, that is where I'm going. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but that's where I'm going to go.
So like not even design related, nothing design related
at all. This was at a time when I didn't even know I wanted to be a designer. I was 18 years old. I always drew, always loved art and that sort of stuff, but it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go be a designer. That's my dream. That's my goal.
Yeah. You didn't know that you can actually like do something.
I had no idea. I love to draw. I love making art, like even during that time I had a crazy mural on my wall and stuff like that, but it just never clicked to go that sort of route. But once I, started moving and doing stuff out here, I started a clothing company with a couple of my buddies, and we just did like some quick, easy shirts. And that's when I was like, wow, this is really what I want to do. And so that really led me down the trail of what do I need to do to kind of get this going. And I'm not the type of person that does anything half-ass.
Yeah. I can see that. I vibe to that. That's exactly how I am.
Right on. Yeah. So that's where, when that happened, I wasn't like, I'm going to start a t-shirt company. I'm going to do this to get by. I was like, no, if I'm going to start a t-shirt company, it's going to be the best t-shirt company we've ever seen. And I'm going to be the best designer ever. Where granted, that's not easy to accomplish, but whatever, so that's where I went at it. So then I moved back to Chicago for 2 years, finished up design school at the Art Institute of Chicago. Really kind of solidified what I wanted to be doing and my style and my look and that sort of stuff. And I actually didn't even know Illustrator was a program before going to art school. So that was once they showed me Illustrator and I opened up that program, I was like, oh, this is what I've been trying to do for years. I was like, oh, I've always wondered how those logos were so perfect and this and that. And so, yeah, so I was actually really late into the game, and it wasn't until I was in college that I even knew about Illustrator. So it's funny now, like I don't even open anything else besides Illustrator, really.
I think it's funny because a lot of people think it's too late for them. And that's like one of the big things I want to hit on the show is like, you could be a late bloomer. Even Gary Vee says it. Like Gary Vaynerchuk, I don't know if you know him. Like he found his stride. He was grinding behind the scenes for years and found a stride in his 40s, you know? What is it? The Colonel for Kentucky Fried Chicken ended up like blowing his shit up when he was like 60. So, I mean, it's never too late. Never. And it's all just the fun and the passion that you put into it. You know, it can be too late if you want to half-ass it and do that sort of stuff. But if you truly want to do it and you have the passion to do it, it's never too late. And there's something for everyone out there. There's so many different looks, styles. You don't have to be an incredible artist even. Like some of the most hype artists out there, you're like, oh, wow, he's actually not even that good. So... Exactly. There's like some kind of message behind it, some kind of story and experience, entertainment or educational aspect or angle to it. So this is kind of a two-part, a double threat question. What does One Vibe stand for? And then, you know, I want to talk a little bit more of how you found that style, how you kind of stumbled into that style, because I kind of have some ideas, but I want to hear it from you first. So like, what does One Vibe stand for?
Well, the whole idea of One Vibe came from the idea that just for me, I'm very nature oriented. As we'll talk later about my creative process, like it comes from going out and going on adventures and that sort of stuff, as opposed to, you know, sitting on my phone looking at other designers and that sort of stuff. But essentially what the whole idea is that me, you, the guy, your neighbor, my neighbor, we're all in this together. We're not individual little pieces running around trying to make craziness of this world. You know, it's all one cohesive piece. And once we figure that out, everything works that much better. And even in like the design world, you know, there's so many different moving parts of everything. It's like, you know, it's just, even if you're just a designer, now you have that design, you're taking that to the clothing company or whatever they're using it for. Now they have their sales team doing this. And it's not just one person doing anything. It takes a village, it takes a team. And that's the whole idea of One Vibe is like, you know, there's a million billion different vibrations going on at one time, but there is that one that we're all on, you know, and once you tap into that and see that and get into that, and that's kind of what my art is all based around, is just, you know, unity, love, aloha, power, positivity, and that sort of stuff. And that's all One Vibe is that we're all one, essentially.
That leads me to the next question of how you were able to find your style. Because I'm big on, you know, instead of showing the work you think people want to see, show the things that interest you, you know, the things that are a part of you, that your story, your DNA, and that screams in your work. So, I mean, that's like a secret of finding your style, I feel like, is pouring you into your work.
Oh, 100%. And that's kind of what I was going to go with on that was, you know, when I first started off, I was taking on every single project. They were like, oh, we want it done in this style from this, you know, it was like, I was even like copying people's work, and I was like, I don't care what it is. I'm just getting it all out there.
You got to do that. You got to do it.
Exactly. So there, you know, I was doing that. And then on the side, I always had my passion projects, and I was like, oh, I have this idea. I'm going to make it happen. And I would just kind of chip away at it after hours and that sort of stuff. And then I would post that sort of stuff. And then as time progressed and I got more passion projects out there, there was a way, way, way bigger response to the stuff that I wanted to be doing than just the stuff that I was just putting out there thinking people wanted to see. So that's kind of when it shifted a lot. And then that helped because once you kind of go in a certain direction, now all these people are seeing this style and they're attracted to it, and they're saying, oh, well, can we get something done in this style? And now you're formulating your style as opposed to, you know, copying other people's. They're coming to you for this certain look as opposed to bringing you a look and asking you to execute it. You know, you're kind of opening up their eyes to a whole new sort of style.
So like you do have a style. I could pick that shit out from anywhere. There's no right or wrong answer to this. Do you think it's best to like find one style? If it syncs or like it catches on with people, do you think it's best to keep going that direction? Or do you sometimes feel like you're pigeonholed into this style that you create? Like, do you ever want to branch out and try new things?
See, that's funny you asked that now, because now that I've only been about, you know, up until maybe a year ago, I was sitting at about maybe 10K followers, just staying real steady.
Oh yeah, you have blown up, man.
Yeah, and I'm super thankful for that, and I really contribute a lot to that, to finding that certain sort of look and style and keeping it very beachy, Hawaiian, tropical,
doing more of what works.
Yeah, exactly. But now that it's been, you know, a year or so in that, and I've kind of, I'll try and sneak some stuff in there that's a different, still my style, but, you know, different sort of stuff, and it doesn't quite get the response that I was hoping for. So that's kind of discouraging. So it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Like the Apple, I like the one with like the apple and the pencil, and you did some, you do your own lettering here and there too. Like there's a big lettering audience on that. Like that was a switch up of style. Like I really enjoyed. You know, I was kind of just scrolling through your feed looking for different things, and yeah, once in a while you gotta just pivot. So that's what I struggle with, is like my shit is so consistently inconsistent. Like you don't know what you're gonna get next for me, but I've just learned to like embrace it, because I don't have like a specific style. But you got a style, and now you switch up different mediums of how you bring it out, with which you've been extremely successful for. You know, you started off with, I'm assuming prints and probably stickers, you know, kind of the basic things everybody starts with. But tell a little bit more about your products, because you got a super loyal audience. It seems like everything you put out sells out, which is not easy to do. Like you find a specific style, you have a niche audience, and you constantly crank out brilliant ideas. Like, can you tell the progression of how you got into doing products, and you know, what are some of the most recent ones, and where these ideas came from? Yeah,
definitely. So it's actually, I would say it was the loyal following that I've acquired has been really a few years in the making, without me consciously realizing it, or like me trying to plan any sort of attack or anything.
Did you just make things for you first, and just to see if there was any interest?
Yeah, 100%. So I started off in like just a couple years into One Vibe. I did real limited t-shirt designs and real limited releases on that.
Describe limited, you know, like how many?
50 to 100 pieces total. So that's all sizes. That's including hoodies, tank tops, t-shirts. So 100 pieces total for each release. And so they would sell out in a few weeks and stuff. So it's nothing like it is now, where everything's selling out in like 10 minutes and stuff, which is crazy to me still. I'm incredibly thankful for it, but you know, it took a few weeks and that sort of stuff. I didn't have the hype and the audience and the following that I have now, but I did that, did a year or two of doing some limited product releases. And then I just completely stopped. Just said, you know what, I'm going to focus on my client work. This is a lot of extra work. It's not really profitable for me. It was just kind of fun. It was cool. It was good marketing. But I'm really going to focus on my client work. So completely stopped. And then in that meantime was when my following really jumped and jumped and jumped and jumped. And it was going from like 10,000 to 20,000 in like a week and stuff. And it was just like, what is going on?
In a week? God damn.
Jump was crazy. Like I went from 10,000 to 20,000.
Is it the features, like using Instagram as a tool and finding the right hashtags and catching the features from different illustration accounts and art sharing?
That's 100% what it was I switched my hashtags from like just generic illustration, you know, that sort of stuff, to, you know, places like the Design Tip and, you know, Simply Cool Design. And then it only took, you know, Graphic Design Central and those places, and those it took, you know, 2 or 3 posts from them and shares, and then all these other accounts and pages that were similar to them started sharing it, and then it was just like boom, blown up.
This is a great example. So like a couple months ago, we're talking in the future, so past tense, I put out an episode on like 6 ways to grow your Instagram letter audience, but I made like a side note, like these tactics work for whatever type of art you create, in a sense, because there's some type of featuring page, and you're like literally living proof of, you know, how you can pivot and do it different from a different field of like illustration and design work. So there are these accounts out there, if you do photography, lettering, illustration, character animations, whatever it is, like that's exactly it. Find those hashtags, be tactical about it, and, you know, continue to find your style. So
exactly. Yeah. And they were a huge part in doing all that. And so they helped me do that. So in that meantime, you know, I was sold out of everything. I left my shop up, and, you know, there was shirts and prints, but everything was always sold out. So I would, you know, I can't even begin to tell you how many people would message me, comment on stuff. It was like, oh, how can I get this? Where can I get this? Or please release prints, please do that. So, you know, after a few months of that and really seeing that the interest in my work really starting to grow, I was like, man, I think I'm really sitting on something here. So I started real small, just did print releases and stuff like that. And I've always kept everything limited edition. I set a number, that's what it is, boom.
Like, what's a print release? Like I told you earlier, so listeners know, I got one I've been rocking here on my wall for damn near a year and a half now. So
yeah, I would say I've never done anything more than 50 prints, unless it's a time limited print, which is also a really cool idea if you're trying to do limited edition stuff, and it gives you so
nice. What do you mean by time limited?
Yeah, so what it is I'll set a date, say, you know, it's today. So I'll say June 22nd or whatever the date is, whenever this is released. But, you know, at 1 o'clock it's releasing. And then on June 26th at 1 o'clock, it's done. So whatever the number is during that allotted time. Like a
pre-order?
Yeah, it's essentially a pre-order. But it's more, I don't name it a pre-order. It's a time limited release. So then those people kind of do that. So then it allows you to increase those numbers, but also leave your limited edition thing. So once it's done, it's still sold out, but now you have a few more possibilities of people coming in and doing stuff and grabbing a print where they wouldn't.
Do you print your own stuff, print on demand?
Yes. So I have a printer in-house and stuff.
And I really liked, you had like a certificate of like ownership to go with each one. You know, that's just like a little extra oomph of the branding experience a lot of people don't think about. So it sells the limitedness.
Definitely. And that's a lot of, I don't know. I can't say this is directly what caused the success in my product releases, but I can attribute to, you know, stuff like that is the little details because of the comments that I get from people. It's like, oh, this was so cool that you did this. And that now I've recently switched my packaging to it's all branded and all recyclable and that sort of stuff, because everything is very eco-conscious with One Vibe and stuff too. So that has brought in, you know, other little things. It's just like little things like that. People love and adore it.
Little details.
You know, and you put a little handwritten note in there, people, you know, so.
That is the big key right there. That creates so many like repeating customers of mine. Like, I don't sell products like you do, but that handwritten note, like even when I get a package from someone, I'm like super bummed if I don't get a handwritten note. That like bums me out.
Yeah. So, I mean, like that's what the certificate of authenticity, you know, it's like signed, hand numbered. And that was the sort of feeling that I wanted to put. It was like, I'm not just sitting here selling you sheets of paper. I'm putting my heart, my love, and this is something that I truly love and appreciate, and I hope that you love and appreciate it too. So
I definitely feel that with everything you put out. So talk about your email list, because a lot of people don't do an email list. Like, I use an email list, and that's like, people think email's dead, and it's not. Like, it helps you cut through the noise of social media. The engagement and stuff can be good, but like the chances of someone opening your email is way better than you thinking you're going to hit everybody on your Facebook page or like getting sales through your Instagram necessarily. Like, when did you start building your email list, and has that been like a big tool for you to launch your products?
Oh, huge. Yeah. That has been very, very crucial for me.
Do you sell more through your email list over than like Instagram?
I'd say it's about half and half. So that's pretty big because I sell a lot through Instagram.
Do you have a business account set up?
I don't. So that's kind of something that like a little weird for me because so I switched on that. I switched to a business account and I had this theory that like Instagram shuts you down if you don't pay to promote.
Yes.
And you got a business thing. So I made this switch one time because I was like I did a hat, actually this hat that I'm wearing right now. I released it and it was something different because, you know, I've done woodcuts and those are hard to sell for someone who doesn't follow you already because you're introducing not only your artwork to them, but you're introducing a totally brand new product. They don't even know what it is to them.
And those sold out too though, right?
Yeah. Those were the hot tickets. Those things sell out instantly. So I'm super thankful for that. So, but when I had my hat, I was like, oh, that's actually a product people know. I can do some sponsored ads and stuff like that. I didn't anticipate it to sell out as quickly. I did a little bit higher numbers. I did 100 of them. So it was more than what I usually do of like, you know, 50 or, you know, woodcuts can be as low as 5. So there can be very limited. But, you know, I made that switch and plans to do a sponsored ad. And all of a sudden I went from like 3,000 to 4,000 likes a photo to 300, 400 likes a photo. And my videos were getting 13 to 15,000 views, all of a sudden getting 1,200 views. And I was like, this is really shady feeling. So I switched it back to a personal account and boom, right back to normal. Or not right back, but it was, you know, it took a little interaction and that sort of stuff, but it's now, you know, fully functioning again like it used to. Whereas like, you know, I'm now at a catch-22 because I want to be paying to promote and getting my art out there. But at the same time, if the people that are interested aren't seeing it, what's the point of trying to reach all these other people?
Man, I spent all 2017 dealing with that, not thinking about the business account until my buddy said something in like November. And I jumped off it and like immediately night and day difference of engagement. And then tinkering around with different hashtags, switching things up, posting different times, regardless. But okay, see, you just like solidified my theory.
Yeah, well, you solidified and I talked to other people that I know that have like big followings and stuff like that. Like one of the in-house design jobs that I have, they have, you know, 80,000 followers or something like that. Always used to get thousands of likes, and now that they are a business one, and they make a lot of money through sponsored posts. So it's really hard for them to make that switch back. So it's more beneficial right now to keep it as a business because of the amount of money they're making off the sponsored posts. But on their regular posts, it's like they went from 1,000 likes to like not even breaking 100 sometimes. So I'm like, this is outrageous. And then you can see like the posts and for like myself, where you say you have like certain verbiage like available or releasing or for sale, or you can find it at this site. All of a sudden you can see your interactions coming down from there. So there's other sort of algorithms and stuff involved and stuff. So
yep, they picking up those words. Yep. You got to pay to play with some of that. Okay, perfect. Back to the email thing. So like, when did you start doing that? Would you suggest someone to build an email list? Do you use MailChimp? Because I've been studying your emails over like the last year or so, just how you do it, because I build up product launches here and there. And what are your best tactics for building your email list, especially with this EU GDPR bullshit?
Yeah, so I would say the best thing that I have done with my newsletters is it's only for my products. So I don't use it to try and promote my design services or anything like that. And I only do it when there is a release or there's a call to action at that point in time, because I have an email account. I know how many newsletters get sent to it, and I know how many I open. So if it's something that I'm actually interested in, maybe I'll open it, maybe I won't. But if it's something that I'm definitely interested in and it only comes at very important times, then I'm definitely going to open it. So that's what I try and make sure I do, is like the only time I'll send you something is when there's a call to action or you need to know something that's happening right now.
Do you use MailChimp?
Yes, I do. I have been considering, because I use Squarespace for my website, and they just upgraded to having newsletters sent out through them. So I haven't done it yet, but they just integrated that. So I was going to try that out and see how that went, just because it's a direct link and you can keep it the style and the design very cohesive with each other as opposed to jumping between MailChimp. But at the same time, I love MailChimp, and I've grown to use it for everything. And I actually just this past release, and this is another little fun little note or for releases and stuff, is just to incorporate little touches and fun little things. This past time I sent out, so MailChimp, you know how MailChimp gives you the star ratings and stuff like that. So everyone that has a 5-star rating on my newsletter list, I added into this VIP status. So now they're getting the extra boost and that sort of stuff, and it allows them to receive stuff, that extra promos and stuff like that, because they're the ones that are actually engaging and doing that sort of stuff. So now it's keeping them wanting to keep engaged and stuff, and keeping that 5-star status and keeping them.
Do you just like make a custom campaign and send it just to those VIPs for something? Exactly. What, like, so like a discount in your shop or what?
Yeah. So this past time I just select, because you can go in, you go to your campaign list, select, and you can see the rating of every single person on there. So I just went through, selected all the 5-star ones, and then they all got a 15% promo code that they could use for this past release. So not only is it, keeping them involved with the newsletters, it's now creating, doing that, and now it's creating that want to purchase something else and continue purchasing stuff like that.
That's a great idea. Where do you get your ideas for like these woodcuts and everything? Do you think of them of yourself? Do you gauge interest from other people first? Do you like make a prototype first and then see how people react, and then you realize that you're onto something?
Well, it kind of fell into my lap. I had a friend who was working in-house as a production designer for a big art producing company that's on island. And I just reached out to him. I was like, are you doing anything different? I want to do something new, something different. I've been doing prints. I've done shirts, but I want something that's like, brand new, something no one's ever seen before. And so he showed me these prints on wood and stuff like that, and these other laser cuts and that. And I was like, well, can we combine them and do a laser cut and then print on it? And he's like, well, I think so. So we tried doing that, and I started with just like real simple stuff, and because I didn't know what we could do with it and everything. So I started with like my Wave logo and stuff like that, and real simple things. And then once I had the actual products in hand and see how they kind of interact with light and on your wall and how they pop and that sort of stuff, then it allowed me to really build and grow and see the designs that I have and kind of use them and pull them apart and see what would work really well as a woodcut. Like this last one that I did, it was called the Protect woodcut. And compared to what I did at the very beginning, it is not even in the same realm of complexity. It's just, there's real little thin pieces and that. So it's just the way that it interacts with each other is way different than the first one. So it's all just been building and growing off this one little idea of like, I just want to do something different.
And you build some type of message and story into things. And I think that's what helps people resonate with it and triggers like, oh shit, this means something to me. And it increases the value and the want.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. If you can, my best advice for if you want to sell products is if you can connect and relate a story to it and a feeling to it, you're good. Like that's the biggest thing is if you getting that, a story behind it. If you can talk about what it is as opposed to like, oh, this is a print. I don't know. I thought it was cool. I made it. I like it.
Buy my stuff. Buy my stuff. Buy my stuff.
Exactly. Or you can go and you can tell this story and show this product, and then people are like, oh, yes, I attract to that way more.
Would you say your audience is nature, eco-conscious, tropical loving people?
Oh, definitely. But the crazy thing is like it's like a lot of the places that I send to are Canada and the Midwest, and it's people that are trying to get a piece of paradise that don't necessarily always have it.
Like a wish you were here kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and that's me from growing up in the Midwest, knowing like I from a little kid, I knew I wanted to live in Hawaii. It's always been my dream to surf and to be on the beach all day. So there was always that draw to it for me. So now I kind of took that same feeling and put it towards other people.
I could like see a campaign right now. Here's your little piece of paradise. You could like build around that. Like, damn, dude, that'd be a dope idea or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so I actually have one of the designs that like my first passion project that kind of started growing my following and pushing my style into this thing was my design called Slice of Paradise, which is it looks like a chunk of an island that's removed, and it's just, you know, it's your slice of paradise.
Wait, okay, yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it was the one that you shared this morning in the story and stuff. Yeah, so that was the whole idea. It was you get your own slice of paradise, and that, you know, you can grab your own slice, your own piece of it, and stuff like that. So that's actually where it came from, and that kind of trickled down and led to everything else. Is like, you know, there's people out there that wish they were here every single day, you know. So I have a good local following and stuff, but the hardcore following tends to be from places that can't have that tropical touch.
Interesting. I wouldn't have thought that. That's dope. Can I make a request someday for like a pizza wave or a pizza island or something like that? That'd be sick.
Yes, most definitely. A pizza wave would be definitely awesome.
That'd be dope. So do you do a lot of freelance right now still?
None right now. No, so I'm the in-house designer for 2 companies, and then I do my product designs. Yeah. So I haven't taken on freelance work in almost 2 years now. How
do you balance like the day job, the side hustle, and I believe you're married now, right? Or engaged?
I will be getting married. By the time this airs, I will be married. I'll be on my honeymoon.
Congrats.
Thank you.
What date are you getting married?
We will be getting married July 13th.
Okay, mine's July 18th is my anniversary, so we're close. Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Most people go to like Hawaii for their honeymoon. Where are you going to go?
Well, we're staying in Hawaii. We're going to another island. We're just going to Maui we're in the process of trying to build a family and buy a place and stuff like that. And with the cost of living out here, we got to pinch every penny.
I could imagine.
Yeah, so we're just hopping over to Maui for a week, but it's going to be awesome because I'm actually getting the week off, and it's probably been about 8 years since I've got a full week off. So
yeah. So how do you balance the time between the day job and the side hustle and, you know, being a soon-to-be husband and family duties, friend responsibilities, commitments? You know, how do you like literally schedule out your day to day, or do you just create when the muse hits you?
It's kind of a mix between the both. I try as much as I'll try and have a schedule. I'm like, all right, this is the time I'm going to sit down. But, you know, as a designer, you can sit down all you want. It doesn't mean something's going to come out and something's going to happen. So, you know, if it doesn't happen, I have no problem going surfing, going for a hike or something like that, and kind of just switching everything up. But, you know, honestly, that's been one of my bigger struggles is trying to keep that balance and always finding that balance, because, you know, there's a lot of times where business is booming and doing great, and I'm super stoked with how business is going. Then all of a sudden, you know, I find out, you know, or I realize I haven't talked to any friends, or my fiance isn't too stoked with what I'm doing, or, you know, how the love that I've been giving. And so
it's like you're telling me my story right now.
Yeah. So that's still been one of my bigger challenges, is trying to find that balance, but it's starting to get there. You know, and it is realizing the fact that sitting down in front of your computer doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get work done. You know, you got to do it when you're feeling it, when you know it's going to happen. You know, and there's times where I could be more productive in 3 hours if I go and just knock the funk off me first, as opposed to sitting in my desk for 12 hours that day. You know, so it's finding and realizing that, and not saying, all right, I need to be in front of my desk for these 12 hours, otherwise it's not a productive day. Because, you know, creativity and this comes from everything. We're literally creating stuff or something from nothing. You know, it's not an easy task to do. And people, you know, I think a lot of designers downplay how crazy it is what we're doing. You know, we're essentially making something from nothing. So, you know, you gotta treat yourself and handle the stuff and get that creativity going. Otherwise you're just going to be, like I said, sitting in front of your computer doing nothing and not being productive anyway. So that's where I think finding the balance comes in, is realizing when and where you're going to actually get the work that needs to be done. And
Word. Before we go to rapid fire questions, what's one piece of advice you'd give to a creative at any stage of life who struggles starting or sticking with it? Because it's probably not always been easy for you. You didn't just like blow up on Instagram overnight and have your products just take off, you know, like from the outside looking in, it's like, damn, I wish I could be him, but it's not always that easy. You know, it's a daily grind.
Oh, 100%. It is. It takes more work than I ever thought would be needed to do something like this. And I do want to throw it out there that I started One Vibe when I was crashing on my friend's couch. This is grassroots. Like I was crashing on a couch for months on this, and, you know, just trying to get everything going and flowing. And, you know, I'm thankful that now it's at this point. So I would say, you know, my best piece of advice, like I said earlier, stay positive with everything. Always know that you're incredible. What you're doing is incredible, you know, and be proud. You speak a universal language. Not everyone can do that. That's something that's very, very important in the world. So be proud of that. Know your worth, and, you know, and excel on that. And just have fun. You know, that's the biggest thing I would have to say to be successful in this industry, because what's the point of doing this if it just feels like work, you know? So I have a freaking blast doing this still. I might work 14-hour days, but I love it still. And I'm not sick of it. I will get, you know, a little fizzled out, but I'm still waking up every single day stoked to create and making stuff. So have fun, do what you want with it. Don't focus on what other people want, what your clients want, and that sort of stuff, and realize that, you know, it can be discouraging, especially this day and age, but you got a freaking awesome power, and, you know, just use it and create, and no need to be a starving artist. You can be a very happy, successful artist.
Damn. Love it. That's dope, man. I resonate with all of that. All right. Rapid fire. If you were on death row, what would your last slice of pizza be?
Well, since I'm a vegan, it would be probably a little different than yours.
That's totally okay. Hey, yeah, I've had vegan, vegetarians. I'll answer this. So
yeah. So it would probably be a nice flatbread, more of a flatbread sort of thing, sans cheese, and just loaded with veggies and garlic, really.
Okay. Hey, that works. Totally.
Yeah. So I used to love, I'm from Chicago, so I love deep dish pizza. So honestly, if I was on death row, I'd probably just go with Chicago deep dish anyway.
There's a spin to it. Exactly. The whole key is like you're on death row, so you can like, this is your last hurrah.
I'd say I'd have to go back to my roots and get some Chicago deep dish. Screw the vegan for the death row.
Exactly. That's the whole point of this one. All right. So this one, I don't even know where the hell I thought of this one. Honestly, I think it's from your latest release, Protect, is it?
Yep.
Yeah. So this one, what's your spirit animal?
Man, I would have to say, I'd want to say Ohonu, the sea turtle, just because they're so chill and so cruise, and like anytime I go dive around, they're just like the cruisest animal. Like, you've seen Finding Nemo, like that is seriously the vibe they put out. However, I don't think I'm that chill, actually, as much as I would want to be. So I'd probably say I'm more of a dolphin. You know, I like to have fun. I'm a little crazy, but, you know, there is that caring, compassionate side to me and everything. But
perfect. All right. I think I know the offline part of this, but this is one that a listener said, hey, will you like ask people, you know, where they find their inspiration? And I'm like, well, I know a lot of people find it from outside. So where do you find your inspiration online and offline?
Honestly, most of it will come from offline. Like, as I was saying earlier, anytime I want an idea or I'm craving an idea, I'll just go surf, I'll go hike, I'll go dive. And whenever I turn my brain off on trying to force an idea out, that's when an idea happens to pop in. So that tends to allow me to create what naturally comes to me, as opposed to when I look online at other people's work, I can kind of see myself sort of shifting into this new sort of look that kind of goes along with them and whatever's popular at the time. So I do want to stay relevant and modern with whatever the design trends are at the time, but I don't ever want to get caught up in that, so I like to look outside, but I also like to stay what's up on the design trends. So like I was saying earlier on those feature pages, like the design tip, graphic design central, I go on Dribble, Simply Cool Design, it's all that sort of stuff. And then I have, the go-to artist that I do like to check out, like Tom Hoganot and stuff like that, who's like so different from my style. And that's what I kind of try and look for, is people that are way, way, way different than what they're doing, so I can kind of implement some of their techniques as opposed to, always being stuck with the same sort of stuff. So, yeah, but I would say most of it comes offline, honestly, as you can probably see from my work too.
Yeah, I was gonna say it screams it from your work. All right, so if you were stranded on an island with only 3 possessions, what would they be? No cheating.
Well, since I'm on an island, I'd have to go number 1 being a surfboard, because as I said, fun is the most important thing to everything. And if I'm going to be stranded on an island, I might as well have some fun while I'm at it. So number 1, definitely a surfboard. And then I'd have to say a knife for obvious reasons. And, I got to survive. And then other than that, a magnifying glass, because the last thing I'd want to be is, have that lighter work for the first month, and then all of a sudden I'm not rescued and now my lighter's out. So
genius.
Magnifying glass, knife, and a surfboard.
All right. Those are the most unique answers to this question yet.
Well, awesome.
All right. Yeah, but it's like you already know though. Like someone like for me, I would have no idea. Everybody's like a sketchbook and something.
Yeah, I want to say that I would design still, but I think I'd be like I've been so kind of caught, especially living on an island. There's tsunamis, the big island's going off with lava right now and stuff. Is I was just kind of picture if if the electricity on the island got shut down, or some natural disaster happened when it was back to the old days. It was I don't think I'd create at all. I'd just go out and I'd be out there surviving and doing this and that sort of stuff. I want to say that I'd create, but I don't think I would.
All right, man. Where can people go to find you online?
Websites for products and stuff like that is onevibehawaii.com. You can also find portfolio work and other stuff on there. Up-to-date information and my news. Yeah, you can sign up for my newsletter on there. And then the most up-to-date stuff with my work and all that sort of stuff is just on Instagram at onevibe, ONEVIBE. And I'd love to connect with anybody and everybody. So.
Yeah, do you got any new products planned right now, or are you kind of chilling at the moment?
No, sadly. So I don't know if you saw, but I lost the production manufacturer for the woodcut. So the Protect woodcut was actually my last woodcut release. So I'm in the process of trying to figure out what's going to be next. And this is unknown to anybody, but I actually bought a laser. So by the time this releases, I will be probably have it up and running and ready to rock, and we can collaborate on some cool stuff and create some other things.
That'd be dope, man. And anytime you have something new you want to hype up or launch out, just let me know so I can plug it in my newsletter with my audience. So happy to help. All right, homie, man, it was so good to finally put a face to the name and the work, man. This has been a long time coming, and I'm glad this is your first podcast, right?
Very first, yes. So sorry if I sounded ridiculous to anybody.
No, man, you crushed it. You dropped a ton of value today.
Oh, awesome. Right on. Thank you very much. And it was an absolute honor to be on this and to, be able to finally connect with you and have that face-to-face conversation. It's been way too long in the making. So stoked on it.
Hell yeah, man. We'll be in touch, all right?
Most definitely. All right, later.
All right, peace. Alright, PC fam, there's Kenny Vidinich, Kung Fu Kenny, aka One Vibe, and it's crazy after talking to him over Skype. It felt like someone I've personally known for years, and I strongly feel we definitely share the same mindset and approach on life. He has an infectious personality that pairs perfectly with his outstanding work. Please do not hesitate to drop him a line and send him some love his way. And don't forget to follow his account and stay updated for his limited product releases. I can't wait to see what he has up his sleeves next. Thanks, Kenny. We appreciate you. This week's dose of inspiration goes out to none other than my homie, Edgar Garcias, which is Eggner. It's like Aigner on the grams. Not only does Edgar have an edgy style combining letters and illustration, but he's been on a tear drawing portraits of people, through Procreate, and lots of lettering and design and lots of funkiness all into one little composition. It's pretty rad, and I met him last year at WMC Fest, and he shares his passion with the students as he is a design professor in California. He's also a Lakers fan, so that's a huge plus. So definitely check him out, again, over on Instagram at Aigner. That's Eggner. I want to mention the Facebook community because this is rapidly growing, and it's basically just people who listen to the podcast. I really only talk about it here, so it makes it pretty special. So if you're looking for accountability, a place to share your work, people to collaborate with, give and receive solid feedback, get access to resources that'll elevate your creative game, then I encourage you to jump on Facebook and search for the Perspective-Collective Facebook group. This community is thriving, it's popping. There's tons of people just collaborating all over the world right now, getting feedback, putting themselves out there. It is amazing to see. It's better than I could have ever imagined, and we would love to have you be a part of it. So again, hop on Facebook, search The Perspective Collective to get involved with some rad people such as yourself. If you're enjoying what you hear today and you want to support the growth of the show, I have a few ways you can make that happen. The first is by becoming a backer at patreon.com/perspectivepodcast. Mentioned this in the intro, but your pledge not only helps support the growth of this show, but I do my best to hook you up with some rewards, so it's a win-win. The second way to support the show is for you crypto heads out there. In the show notes for each episode, I'll have addresses for Bitcoin, Ether, or Litecoin donations if you prefer to go that route. And finally, you can subscribe and leave a ratings and review over on Apple Podcasts. It not only helps the show get discovered, but it gives me an opportunity to give you a nice little thank you plug like this week's rating and review. And this one's titled Plant Your Flag and Let It Wave by I Am Vidinich. And this one's by my good friend Doc Reed. Love you, Doc. There aren't words to truly convey how much I enjoy Scotty and his work with his podcast. I love how he can throw down with everyone. Scotty tells it like it is and what he's learned in his personal battles, then leverages what he's learned for his audio tribe. To know Scotty is to love Scotty. To listen to Scotty is to learn and be challenged. Reed, you are one of the sincerest, most genuine humans out there. I appreciate every ounce of support you've ever sent my way. Sincerely, thank you so much, brother. And as I wrap things up, I need to give a huge thanks to Áine Brennan for making this episode sound so good all the way from Ireland. Little do you know, I recorded this one at 5-ish in the morning, and, it wasn't rough, so Áine had to perform some magic. Also, a huge shout out to Paige Garland on the team for taking over the show notes and the newsletter so I can focus on bigger picture tasks. You rock, Paige. And a huge thanks goes to Nick Jenkins of Blookah for all the dope theme music you hear on the show. Check him out at SoundCloud or on Instagram at Blookah. That's BLOOKAH. And as you finish off your week strong, I want to continue to encourage you to keep showing up, keep putting in the work, and keep creating. You got this.